A black police officer in Ohio is speaking to us about what he says was a racist incident involving his chief that later made national headlines. This happened in June. Surveillance video captured the chief of the Sheffield Lake Police Department putting a paper with the words Ku Klux Klan on Officer Keith Poole's raincoat. Now, Poole says this was only the beginning. Our lead national correspondent, David Bagno, traveled to Cleveland to sit down with Poole and has the story. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning to all of you. This officer was just 9 months into his job when this happened to him. This was a police department that was formed 59 years ago, but they only hired their first black police officer in 2020, and it was Officer Keith Poole. He says the discrimination he faced at that department was part of a pattern that only became public when this was caught on camera.
This surveillance video captured inside the Sheffield Lake, Ohio Police Department caught the then police chief, Anthony Campo Sr., placing a paper on the raincoat of the only black police officer in his department. On it, the words Ku Klux Klan. 30 seconds later, that officer, Keith Poole, walked into the room.
People thought I was laughing about it. I wasn't laughing. I was distraught, like, what do I do with this man? He's sitting right there smiling.
Really?
He's like smiling. And are you serious? And then he tells everybody else to come look and see what he did.
What's going through your head?
It was so demeaning and destructive to me. I didn't know what else to do. If that wasn't enough, he sat there and he took a newspaper and shaped it into a hat of a cone and sat it there around his head like this and said, you need to wear one of these on your next call.
Like a Klansman?
Yes, a Klan's hat.
4 days after the incident, the police union requested a copy of the video captured on that city camera, and that put the city on notice. Mayor Dennis Bring confronted Chief Campo.
The chief was standing in his office and he made a joke, am I going to get fired over this? And I looked at the law director and I said, hand him his paper. And he said, after 30 years, this is what I get. And I said, you have 10 minutes to get out of your office.
Now, the chief was not fired. He reportedly said he was able to retire after 32 years at the department and 8 of those years as chief.
Are you Mr. Campo?
That doesn't matter.
We wanted to ask the former chief why, but we were asked to leave his property by a man who looked a lot like him.
Just want to help people. Just want to do my job. We always got to prove ourselves in this job. Being black, being a woman, they all got to prove themselves. It ain't fair.
Keith Poole has achieved distinction as an officer, serving 30 years in law enforcement, 8 of those years as a school resource officer.
To have this man poke at that, and these kids see that, and they say, well, what's going on with Officer Poole? Why is he doing that to him? That's only one man that tried to do damage, but he will not be able to damage me.
Poole and his attorney, Ashley Case Sletfold, alleged that there was a pattern of discrimination orchestrated by the former chief. Poole says when he asked the chief for a new patrol car, the chief sent him this picture of what he could get. The chief also allegedly posted this picture of Poole with the headline, Raccoon Reaper. And Poole claims the chief publicly posted this picture of a hot sauce bottle. On it, the face of the department's only Latino officer. Despite all of that, Officer Poole chooses to still work at that department.
Why would you want to stay at that department?
The department is not Tony Campo. The department is what we make it. He was just part of the department. Now that he's gone, now it's going to be a department.
And things have gotten better?
And things have gotten a lot better.
Well, that's because there's a new police chief, and Officer Poole seems pretty happy about that. Mr. Poole has filed a complaint with the Ohio Civil Rights Commission. Next, he and his attorney plan to file a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city and the former chief. The former chief has not publicly denied what happened. The mayor says the chief told him he was just joking.
joking and tone deaf. I'm so sick of people trying to hide behind, I was only kidding.
Right.
You could see the pain, the humiliation on Officer Poole. I so admire, A, that he's telling his story to us, and B, that he chose to stay, because he said that's not the whole department. That was just that one officer. But my heart aches looking at what he had to go through.
Yeah. And
From
there
a
are-
chief who thinks it's funny.
And there are people at home that might be watching this saying, well, you can't take a joke. It's just a joke. Why is it that people of color have to laugh at things that cause them pain? And in this situation, that's exactly what happened.
It occurred to me that no matter how old you are, you're never immune to feeling pain. He's 57. He's got 6 adult kids. And he said, David, it was so embarrassing for me to have this story be known by others.
He has nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right.
He has nothing.
No doubt. David, once again, great job. Thank you so much.